Hello, thank you for coming. I'm always a little nervous about if I put the time to where people can actually make it. I'm Maria Beatriz la Mora in the SCA. I'm Bambi everywhere. And I started making these, I started doing these hats because I was, number one, I cover my head almost all the time. But number two, I saw a lot of people being intimidated by having a hat, even though they wanted one. So I've invented this way of doing a perioid hat. It is not period hat construction. There will be no felting. There will be nothing that you couldn't do in the back seat of a car driving to an event. Don't ask me how I know. So the, oh goodness. Okay. You know what? I'm going to hand this over to Sarah because my phone is doing strange things. So anyway, the 5 hats that we have are separated into 2 categories. The one category is basically the straight geometry pieces. There's a straight piece that goes around, and there's a top, there's a lid, sort of like a box to put your head in, except it's a round box. One is narrow, one is tall. The other 3 are conical, either in conical or out conical. And I call one the pointy, and that's hat B. I call the second one the flower pot because it's sort of a truncated. That's one I'm wearing now. This one, by the way, is out of polar fleece because it was available. And the third one is called the pie plate because it's narrow at the bottom and wider at the top and flat. So if you could be thinking about, well, if you've already thought about which one you do, we will go through those tonight. And at some other point, I will add the others if there's nobody interested in that particular one. So I guess that's the first part. The second part is, no, I guess the first part of the actual constructions is you get to wear a tinfoil hat, folks. Yes. I'm going to remove this for a minute to remove the hat I'm wearing. And this one is the flower pot. And they're all reversible. Okay, there's this, and there's also this. But all of the shapes will be completely reversible. This is for 2 reasons. Number one, it means you don't have to keep like worrying about what's going to fray. And number 2, it gives it more structure without your having to go, I don't know, to glue or something to make it stiff enough to stand up. So have we got votes for which hats we're going to do tonight? Which hats people want to do?
We have a couple of pillboxes and a couple of conicals.
Great. Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. Okay, to start with the pillbox, you will take your aluminum foil and you will, if you've got something else to measure with, fine. If not, the foil will do. So yes, you can use this piece here, right here. I'm sure this is way too big for you. You'll probably fold it into several pieces. Fold it lengthwise. Okay, but you will
Mandy,
take.
we also have a conical flower pot request.
We have a flower pot.
Yeah.
Okay, great. For the for either of the pillboxes, you will fold your, I don't know, I've got very large foil tonight. The average foil is much narrower than that. But you will take your foil and fold it down to approximately the depth that you want your pillbox to be. Yes. Yes. So I have a very large head. So mine is probably going to be deeper than most people's. But even that is a little too deep. And then you are going to wrap it where you would wear it. If you're going to wear it around the top of your head, you have to wrap it around your forehead. If you're going to wear it on the back of your head, then that's what you need to do. Okay. When you wrap it, stick 4 fingers in before you sort of fold it off. So stick 4 fingers in so you'll have enough room. This will be basically on every hat, you're going to stick 4 fingers in. And that is so that once you've started using the seam allowance, it doesn't get too small. So you're going to stick 4 fingers in. All right. Then once you've got that, okay, yours, I think you need to be narrower. You need to fold yours probably down in half. Anybody want me to check theirs? That's fine. Once you have done that, look at yourself, see if you like the proportions, because only you can tell. I happen to know what Sarah is making hers for, so I know that hers needs to be narrower. Yes, that's good. Okay. Now, when you have it the width that you want, you're going to fold it off at the seam allowance. And you're going to put it down on another piece of foil and trace the circle you have. My head, by the way, is not circular. I tend to shove mine a little bit more into oval because I know that about my head. In general, though, circular will do. Right? Then you're going to put that down and trace the circle. While you were doing that, I'm going to move on and show the people doing the conical. You will take people doing the conical. Again, you will fold it down to approximately the height you want it to be. I will remind you, though, that since the conical goes in, it can't be too shallow or you won't be able to get down into it. So I would measure from wherever you're going to wear it, like here or here. I would measure with my hand to past wherever the edge of my head is, if you're doing the conical one. So if I'm looking in the mirror, this is this is past where my head is because my head is not going to go into the point. So you want the point to be clear of headroom. So with that, I look at my foil and this is approximately how deep my conical is going to be. All right. Go ahead, measure around your head where you want it to. My piece was a little small, so I'm going to do it again because I can't get 3 fingers in there. There you go. I can wrap sandwiches with the rest tomorrow. Okay, once you have the piece that will go around where you want, this is still a little wide on me. You will begin pleating darts from the top where there is supposed to be the cone to about a finger joint to the bottom. You're going to start doing triangular darts. So you're folding pleats. You are folding pleats, but you are not folding square pleats. You're folding dots. Answer and tell him what I'm doing. You're going to be folding darts. So they almost disappear into the bottom where your head goes, but they are folded deeper at the top. And you're going to make many, many of these until you get a piece that kind of looks like this. So the bottom still is going all the way. The bottom will go all the way around you. And the top will have maybe, the size of a small muffin at the top, not more, but there will be a hole. Right? Does this make sense? Am I making sense to people so far? Yes? No? Yes? Okay.
I'm following.
Okay. If I'm not, wave your hand wildly
Absolutely.
and let me know. Okay. So this is the conical, right? This is my husband saw me doing this and said, so are you costuming the Wizard of Oz? So yeah, that's pretty much what it looks like in foil. All right. Then when you've got that done, you're going to close it off and put it on your head to make sure it fits the way you want. I need to actually put a couple more in these. And I realize I'm going very fast, but I'll come back to them. I just want to get everybody started on the one they want. All right. And then you will put it together. And that little hole in the bottom, you're going to trace on a piece of foil. You're going to trace that circle. Once you can even tape it together. If you've got masking tape, tape it together. Just make sure you overlap the seam allowance because it will be sewn up the back. Okay. For the flower pot. Here. Okay. Very good. Now you're going to need another piece to trace your circle with. Okay. For the flower pot, it's pretty much the same, only it is shallower. It is shallower, and you are going to make shallower folds the same way. You're going to start and instead of like basically half a pizza pie with a little bit out of it, you're going to end up with almost, but not quite, a crescent. I have to put it down so I can, let me see. In general, whereas the top of the conical, the circle is probably a quarter to somewhere between a quarter and an eighth of this circumference. The flower pot is like a third to a half of the bottom circumference. Flag me down if you're having trouble. I realize it's weird to start with. Whoops. Thank you. So this actually needs a little bit more coming down. Okay. Yes. So the difference between the conical and the flower pot is they're kind of the same type of shape, but the proportions are different. Here's the flower pot. Here's the conical. Make sense? Yes? No?
Yes.
Yes? No?
I'm following you.
Okay, great. Okay. When you've gotten this far on each of your hats, you will, I would shorten yours. Ms. Crocker, I would shorten yours some. As somebody who is nearly 6 feet tall, there's a point at which if you wear something that tall, you were unaware of it and you get caught in things. Don't ask me how I know. We haven't got enough tea. All right.
So the shape of the conical, if I wanted to make more like it looks more like a scarecrow-y kind of hat, right? The conical
Yes.
thing, if you make
Like
it tall.
almost like a little bit different from an elf. Okay, there is a point, but the point is not French medieval Ren Fair. Okay, you want to keep it no more than maybe a hand's width above your head for it to go in, because this is a soft cone as well. The higher you get, the more support you need, and it will flop if it is too high. Oh, I saw a tail. I saw a tail.
Is there a way to do it like that it's rounded at the top? Kind of like a cone thing and have it be rounded?
It will be rounded
Okay.
when you put that circle in. That's why we're not going completely pointed, and we're stopping and putting the circle in.
Okay, makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Anybody else with a question? You're all okay? Yeah, that needs to be probably, yeah, half, almost half. Yes. Okay. So then,
so Allison has been working really with our heart.
I'm sorry, Mr. Saroff. I can't hear you, dear. Are you still asking the question, Mr. Saroff? No? All right. So if everyone's ready, then the next part is for you to join it. And this you can use your tape for. Remember your seam allowance. Tape it shut and then put it down on another piece of foil and trace your circle. Trace the circle that results from that. Okay? Then take it off and run another circle around the circle that you drew, maybe half an inch more, so that will be your seam allowance around the circle, give or take. Give or take. And now we cut. Yes. Now we're going to, well, so you need to run another, you ran a seam a half an inch again around it. So now cut that one out, and we're going to lay it on the fabric and we're going to cut it out.
I don't leave this?
No, because you're doing a pillbox. You're not doing a cone. Yeah. Okay. We're going to be cutting 2 pieces out of each fabric that you have. So you're going to cut whatever form you've got the band and the crown, even if the crown's only this big. So you're going to cut the band and the crown out of each fabric that you have. Okay. Oh, the pins. Did I leave your pins? You have the pins? Okay. So you've got your fabric and you're ready to roll. Conical. I will advise you that if you are cutting out the conical ones, to be aware that if you're going to cut one on the bias, if you're going to center it on the bias, do it on both pieces. Don't cut one with it on the straight and the other on the bias. I don't know. Does everybody know what the bias and the straight mean? Because I know we've got some beginners here. Okay. If you look at pieces of woven fabric, and no, polar fleece doesn't count. There is the way it was woven, which is it will not stretch. And then both directions. And then there's the cross, which is slightly stretchy, not much, but slightly. This will make all the difference in the world when you're trying to make. So if you center your curved piece, which I think I'm not going to do because I really like the flower on this. So I'm going to probably, yep. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So mine will be centered. And you're going to cut one out of each. I will tell you that since this fabric, for the most part, is sturdy fabric, that I do not have the strength to cut through both layers at the same time. Some of you might, you're young, but I don't. So if it's giving you trouble, just cut them each out, cut them out separately. Oh, I forgot to say, if you are doing one of the pleated ones, just because things start to warp a little as you're pleating them, you might want to check yourself, put the two sides together and make sure they're the same width. And if not, adjust it on your pattern before you go any further.
Bambi, Ellen has a question.
Yes. Yes.
Can you hear me? I don't.
Yes, I can.
Did you say that we needed to cut two of each fabric or one of each fabric?
Well, you have two pieces. You have this and the top. You will cut one and one of each fabric. So you'll get a circle out of each fabric and a band out of each fabric. Yes?
Great. And did you, I was waiting for the more directions on the pillbox hat because I wasn't sure how tall the pillbox hat was supposed to be.
The pillbox is supposed to be as tall as you need it to be. If you are wearing it on the back, definitely don't go deeper than you want it to hit on your head. All right. So this is way too deep unless you want it to come down and look like a wimple. The other part of the pillbox is depending on who you're wearing it for. I mean, I've got people who do Byzantine where it's literally like 8 inches deep and sits right on top of their heads. I have people who are doing mildly Middle Eastern and they're this deep, but they sit right on top of their head. I have people who are doing 1950s fashion. It's this deep on top of their head and they put a little veil on it. I've got people who are doing Elizabethan and it's this deep, but they wear it on the back of their head and put jewelry on it. So it really depends on what you're wearing it for.
Thank you.
As far as, you know, in general, if you're going to wear it up here.
It's hard to see where you're showing
Oh,
because.
sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna, thank you.
Sorry. If you're going to wear it like on top of your head, don't go a whole lot deeper than the top of your head unless you're doing Byzantine. Those are the only ones I've seen that can get away with it being like almost a brimless stovepipe. And also, again, if it gets away from you, you get stuck on things because you don't realize where the top of your head is if you're wearing a tall one on top of your head. And behind, if you're wearing it to the back of your head, you want your hair to be able to fit into it, but you don't want it so deep that the weight pulls it back. Okay.
Yes. Thank
Okay.
you. I'm going to
Sure.
need to go look in a mirror though.
Well,
I'm gonna
yes,
have to-
or just look at yourself in your camera.
There you go. Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, we did this in a campground and we had everybody taking selfies of themselves with tinfoil hats. It was great fun.
Bambi, I'm gonna pop in just to say that it's 7:36, so we're just over half an hour.
And we are cooking with gas. We're right on schedule because we already have our patterns and we are starting to cut. I'm happy. Okie dokie. Everybody ready? Everybody cutting or ready to cut? Good. Do holler at me if you need me. I'm right here.
Bambi, Nat
Yes.
shared that he has a pillbox hat and can show it if desired.
Pardon me?
Nat shared a willingness to show
Oh, I'd love it.
a
Yes.
pillbox. Yeah.
I'd love that. Please. Yes. Nat, where is it? Where are you? Yoo-hoo.
There it is.
Oh. Ooh. Oh man. And the ooh. I want to know how you make this yeah. You got to get in touch with me afterwards and tell me how to do that. That's cool. Okay. Oh, I really like that, Nat. But I oh yes.
Nat shared that it's wire and beads.
Ah. Okay. I do not have a lot of experience with wire and beads. So yes, please. I just did what I told you not to do, so I'm not going to tell you what it was, so you won't do it. Here we go. That's it. Do you have a pen over there? Because my pen dried out. Thank you. Thank you very much. I will admit that I am prone to what is known in the quilting world as fussy cutting, which means if I have enough fabric, I will play with like finding a motif. I found, for instance, a flower to put in the top of my cone, and I cut the circle around that because I'm weird that way. Let's see, where is the other one? Oops. Okay, and you've got both pieces? Okay, great. And both circles?
Yeah, they're not.
Okay, okay. Everybody okay?
There are some really interesting comments
Uh-oh.
in the chat box. Sarah was sharing about making hats with needlepoint plastic covered with a middle layer of cotton batting and then the outer layer with fabric. The needlepoint plastic is a cheap buckram substitute.
Yes, it is. What it doesn't do is it's not very forgiving when you make it reversible. It doesn't want to flip in and out very much without breaking. And that I have made those. I have one of those at home that is, quite frankly, my very best hat. And I love it. But when I'm packing to go long distances for an event and I have to put it in a suitcase, it doesn't like that. And the reason I only have one of them is because I broke the other two traveling in a suitcase. But yes, that is, I love the way it looks, and it is my best hat. I cannot remember whose class I took and I learned that from. Do you remember? because you took it from someone, didn't you? There was somebody at Penzic teaching that class. And I've forgotten now what her name was.
I'm the one that made that comment,
Yes.
and somebody taught me how to do that like 30 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
So
I remember.
I don't know who I learned that from. It was a long, long time ago. And you wouldn't use that for a reversible hat.
Yeah.
But it would be if you wanted a stiff hat, that would
Yes.
never reverse. Yeah.
Yeah, a
I've
reversible hat
also
or a
made,
packable hat.
but I've also used that needlepoint plastic to make a fillet,
Oh,
like cut
yes.
really narrow, and you can put instead of using fabric, you can use trim that you sew around it. And that's
Actually,
worked pretty good.
yes, actually the hat that did not get destroyed by the airport luggage people. I did cover in trim because it has my household trim on it.
That's neat.
Yeah.
I also a couple times I bought a cheap Middle Eastern fez.
Uh-huh.
And I recovered it, and it's a little more bendy than the
Yes. Yeah.
needlepoint plastic.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And
that
you can get those on Amazon for like $10.
Oh, okay. That one would definitely survive packing.
Yeah, it would, because if you kind of bent it up, it would pop back out.
Bambi, I'm gonna, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I want to jump in with an important time-sensitive question, and then also another comment that I want to make sure doesn't get missed. So let me give you the question, and then I'm going to go back and catch that comment. Actually, let me do that the other way. So Amatula Luciano, I hope I said that right. Please correct me if I mispronounced your name. Mentioned getting back with you so that they can make CJ a hat to go with the tunic he made at WOW. He's not here, so I can't measure his head.
I would say for a child size one, you want to measure your own head and take it down 25%. So like do 3/4 of what your head is. I know the child, I know Amathula. I think that'll work. By the time he wears it again, he'll have grown into it anyway, because the kid's grown like a weed.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hi, Amathula.
And
he's a lovely child, a very handsome child.
Aw.
Yes.
Okay, the time-sensitive question. How do you figure out the circle that needs to be cut out? So some clarity about the circle.
Okay. You take whatever your piece is, you tape it shut or whatever, and then you will have the hole. Ooh, hole, hole, hole. There's the hole. Okay. You will put that down on your fabric, draw around it, and then draw again around. Once you take it away, you've got the circle. So then you go around that 1/2 inch more, or even 3/4 of an inch more, bigger, so that you've got plenty of seam allowance to play with. Okay. And that is regardless what hat you're doing, conical, flower pot. If you'll look here, it looks round, but it's not really. What it is it's been tucked into the top seam. And so it kind of puffs and looks round, but it's not really. It's just a flat circle that's been tucked into a space. Oop. Okay, you got that going? You there with that? All right, those of you who have got your pieces cut, the next step is the same for everybody, which is you will put your 2 circles face to face, and you will sew around the edge. The smaller the seam allowance you take, the better, because you've got more options later. You will sew around it, leaving about 3 fingers space, not to join the center, so that you're going to, because you're going to turn it inside out. Okay. Make sense? And then you will sew your 2 band pieces together like a tube. So you're going to sew the top curve, or the 2 longest, the top and the bottom. If you're doing a pillbox, you will do the 2 long sides of the rectangle and leave the 2 short sides open. So you've got a tube. Okay. Make sense? I think it's clearer if you look at the directions. Because I've drawn it. I know I've drawn it in. Whoa, no, that's not going to work. Okay. In the straight one, it is along the long edges. In the curved one, it's along both curved edges, but you leave the 2 short pieces open. And in the circle, you leave 2 to 3 fingers open so that you'll be able to flip it. Okay. Face to face, all the pieces are face to face. Does face to face make sense? Yes. Okay. If it doesn't, tell me. There are no such things as dumb questions. There's Bambi using terminology that doesn't read everywhere. So ask me, please.
I just want to share that Sarah said, I like your blue and green hat. Looks really comfortable.
Yes, it is. It is very, I wear it because I lined it with polar fleece. I have no compunctions slapping it on to walk the dog on a cold morning. Absolutely. What did I do with, I had, oh, here it is. Okay. So, and there is no shame in pinning it so that you remember where to sew and where not to sew. Not to mention keeping it from sliding around, but and just to remind myself, the 2 pins facing the other direction are where I remind myself, okay, I don't sew between the 2 pins facing the other direction, because I will forget.
I have another question.
Yes,
Did you say what kind of stitch? Can it be just a running stitch or an over
running
stitch?
stitch works fine. It's all going to be on the inside and nobody's going to see it.
And if you wanted to, can you also use it on the sewing machine?
Yeah, you can. You can definitely, this part can definitely be done on the sewing machine. Good grief. I had a woman the other day in the middle of a campground ask me if it would work better on a serger Well, yeah, but I do have some friends who come to SCA events with treadles in their tents. Okay, guilty as charged. But I've never seen anybody with a serger. And I want to be their friend if I find them. Okie dokie. Yeah, a running stitch is just fine because you're not going to see this. You're not going to see that. And it doesn't even need to be, you know, fine stitching like you're hemming a handkerchief. Nah, you're not going to see that either. And quite frankly, this fabric has so much body, I'm not sure it would put up with that.
Sarah says, how fun to go to an event with a treadle machine.
Oh, yeah. That in my early days, I would sacrifice other things and turn my treadle upside down on the top of my Corolla and drive into Penzic where everybody would point and laugh until Penzic 23 when everybody's tent around me went down. Did you know that a treadle will handle 8 layers of boat canvas without sneezing? Yep. They don't laugh at me anymore. And if you're really lucky, you can find treadles by the side of the road and refurbish them. Or walk into a junk shop where a guy's getting ready to drill it through to turn it into a lamp, scream at him and get the whole mess for 40 bucks. But I digress. How's it going? Everybody okay? Oh, oops.
What are you aiming for?
I was aiming for my hands instead of my chatty face. So, okay, great. Thank you.
If you can hit got it and clear that. So you can
Okay. Oh,
you
yay.
use the mouse.
Oh, I got to use the mouse. Mouse. Thank you. Okay.
Bambi, Sarah, inspired by your story, says, all hail the treadle. Yes, yes, indeed. And Amathula asks, so if you use linen, do you need buckram to stiffen it or just a stiffer material?
Stiffer material. Well, stiffer material. In fact, if you're going to use linen, I would use the heaviest weight linen I could find, which is almost a canvas. I definitely wouldn't use chemise linen or handkerchief linen, but there is a very heavyweight linen that's almost waxy that will stand on its own, and I would use that. And if that didn't come in the color you wanted, I would use 3 layers and put that in between to stiffen it, because then if you end up laundering it, the linen will all act the same. The moment you start mixing fibers, especially natural fibers, it tends to get picky. Things tend to get picky about how they behave.
You also talked in the handout about using iron-on interfacing for especially
Yes.
delicate fabrics like sari silk or something.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I would go ahead and iron-on interfacing is God's gift to the cheating world. Especially if you go and look for the stuff for window shades. It's very heavy. And silk, being an animal protein, will take a lot of heat. So you can definitely press it onto that on the backside and then treat it as one. Okay. Remember to leave the hole open. I have actually sat in the back of a van load of people going to their first event, and we've all made hats going down the road except for the driver. Of course, if you got a big enough van, you can bolt the treadle machine to the floor and do it that way. But I realize not everybody's going to put a hole in the floor of their van.
We
The
are
other,
just
pardon?
after 8 o'clock.
Oh, great. Okay. We're doing okay. You don't have to go to the very end because you will be turning those seam allowances in. So if it's not quite to the very end, it's an art, not a science. Everybody okay? Okay. Okay, and there's Band-Aid number 1. Would work better if I wore my glasses. A helpful chemical tip: if you should happen to bleed on the fabric, for some reason, only your own saliva will dissolve your own blood off the fabric. Now, of course, if you manage to bleed a pint onto it, that's something else, but a pinprick or two, yeah, that actually works.
Another question, Bambi,
Mhm.
if I may offer this. For the conical hat, sew along the circle at the top and bottom.
Mm-hmm. Wait a minute, the circle? Did you say the circle? Oh, that, yes. You sew along the 2 curved parts and leave the 2 flat parts open. Okay, yeah. All righty then. For those of you who have already gotten that far, did you leave a hole?
In this one?
Yeah.
Oops.
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 Yeah, okay. Go ahead. You need a hole. And actually, go ahead and cut this off and flip it, because that's
The wrong side.
the wrong side. Yeah.
How about this one? Is this
That
one?
one's correct. Yeah, that one's correct. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. For those of you who have done your pieces already, you're going to flip them. But if it's a curved piece, you're going to go along the seam allowance and do little snips, because when you turn it inside out, the curve is going in the other direction. So the concave curve, when you turn it, becomes a convex curve.
We can't see
And-
what you're doing.
Oh, sorry. Whoops. Okay. The concave wants to turn in, and it's going to get all lumpy if you don't do little snips, not down to the seam, of course, but just enough so that it will lay nicely on the inside. So I don't know if you see that. These actually need to be a bit deeper because my seam allowance is deeper. This is only on curved seams. You do not need to sweat this on straight seams. So if you're doing the straight pillbox, no matter what, you only will have to do this on the circle, not on the straight piece. And I am noticing that my seam isn't terribly straight. Oh, well, it'll be on the inside. Who's gonna know? Okay, you will, but don't tell.
I'm coming over for more light.
Oh, sure. Everybody okay? Yeah, you should be able to just hook this puppy underneath and just go. And then if it doesn't pull out easily, then do the other side rather than having to drive yourself crazy. Okay. So if you do both sides of that, like chicken foot, it should just pull out. Yeah. Where did I stop? Here. Oh. Nope, this way.
Bambi, just out of curiosity, do you keep any of your foil patterns or do you just kind of start fresh each time?
I do, but I go ahead and transfer them to something more durable than foil. Once I've got the shape down. Number one, the masking tape. Before you do that, you can use the masking tape to like tape all the pleats in place. And then lay it down on, oh, I don't know, butcher paper. I'm a big fan of heavy tablecloth plastic because that'll keep forever, and permanent marker can make, you can write on it with permanent marker. That'll keep forever. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that. But often because I'm teaching how to make the pattern as well, it seems like I start from scratch, but I've got my favorite patterns at home. Okay. And oh, phooey. Huh. Dropped my needle. Ah. Nope. Hmm.
Oh, I heard it drop, didn't it?
Pardon me?
I thought I heard it drop.
You heard it drop. Okay. Well,
I see it.
I see it too. Thank you. Okay. I don't know how far anybody is, but once you have done your circle all the way around and clipped it and turned it, you're going to pin it closed with the seam allowance in.
Can't see. Sorry.
Sorry. Oh, here we go. Pin it with the seam allowance in and slip stitch it shut. This is the part where if you are doing it with a sewing machine, that doesn't work doesn't work except by hand.
It makes such a nice little pocket. Have you ever sewn anything in there?
Uh,
Herbs or I don't know.
pardon me?
Have you
Well,
ever-
yes, but so I made this for some people for their wedding. And I asked them each for a lock of each other's hair, and I sewed them into their hat as a love token. But that was just, you know, because I'm a sloppy sentimentalist. If you are unfamiliar with slip stitching, instead of doing a running stitch up and down, what you're doing is catching the fold and the fold and come out so that it pretty much disappears. Whoop. I have no idea how that white thread got in there, but boo-hoo. Okay. This is where if you're in a proper setting and you're not playing beat the clock, you might want to press it flat, but you can do that anytime. So should I wait for people? How far is?
I know I'm playing catch up because I was trying to monitor the chat,
Yes,
but
yes.
I'm pretty close to where you are. Other people are
Okay.
welcome to weigh in on where they are.
I tell you what, if if you're okay with my continuing, just wave. Okay. All right. No, then I won't continue. I'll just hold off a little bit. Okay. Yeah, that comes out a lot easier. It's a good thing you used this stitch. This stitch is a lot easier to see than some of the others. Excellent.
I turn this inside out, right?
You just turn, yeah,
This
you need,
part.
yes, that part. Yeah. Just like a sock, like you're turning a sock inside out. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. I mean, this was perfectly done, except that they were, it's really too bad because you did this so nicely. It's just, they got to face the other way.
I knew I had it backwards. I was like, I should triple check. I tried to double check, but it didn't work out well.
Okay. So it is tell you what, if you get that turned on, if this happens after class, we can do it after class. Okay.
Okay.
But you just keep on with that one because that will work before this has to work anyway. Okie dokie. So once you've turned the circle inside out and then shut it, you're going to do the same with the crown. after you've clipped it if it's curved. If it's not curved, don't sweat it. You want to make sure that when you've turned it,
Bambi,
It's gonna wanna
it's hard to
cave in
hear
on
you
itself.
without your headset on.
this is again where a little ironing wouldn't hurt. But there are other ways to do that. Number one is to pin it to where each side is on each side, just to kind of coax it to behave. There it is. Okay. The top is not as fussy if it's a curve. And you'll have ways to deal with that later. Right. Then you're going to bring it around and take only one layer. So I've got purple and I've got green, so I'm only going to put the green together. I think I'm wearing my needle. Yep. And pardon me. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Pin just one layer together, and you're going to do a running stitch down your seam allowance just on that one layer. Do not include the other layer. Oh, you've got it turned. Okay. Your next step is then you're going to pin the green to the green, to the green to the green, and then you're going to hand sew just inside in that green to the green. Okay.
We are exactly at 8:30.
Oh boy. Nope. Yes. No. Yes. Okay.
Can you hear me?
And it helps if you knot your thread.
Help. Help.
Hey, Bambi, can you hear me?
And again, this part is just a running stitch because it's on the inside.
Did you need help, Janet?
I sure do.
Is there a question that we might
Yeah,
be able to?
I
Just
don't-
can't seem to.
I don't know what I've done. I've got my tops and my bottoms sewn together. I've got a side pinned on the inside. But
Okay.
how am I going to get this on there? And I'm totally,
Okay, so you sewed your top and the bottom. Take your pins out of the back because you haven't flipped it yet. Did you clip your curves?
yes, always.
Okay, so what you need to do is flip it so that your seams are on the inside. Have you done that yet?
I'm doing it right
Okay.
now.
There you go. Sorry, didn't mean to take over, but if she can't hear, then.
No, that's fine. Thank you for helping out.
Okay, I have a nice tube.
Somebody
now.
needs me to repeat the next set. By all means, get my attention. Yes. Okay.
Can you hear us? I don't think you can hear us,
Oh,
Bambi.
oh, oh.
There you go.
Sorry.
There we go. Yay. Okay.
Yay!
We have questions and comments, but you couldn't hear us, so we're glad you're back.
Sorry.
Okay, I have this done now,
Huh?
and I have this.
All right. Now,
I'm
you turned the circle inside out as well, and you closed it, correct?
yes. Well, I've got about 3 stitches to put on it, but yeah.
Okay. So now you take your cone and you're going to take it around, and whatever two sides meet, like I've got a green and I've got a purple. So I put it so the purple was outside and the green was inside. And I push the purple back and I'm doing a seam down just the green.
Okay.
Closing it just a fabric. Leave the other untouched.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know if you can see in mine, and the stitches are abominable. You're doing a cone or a flower pot? You're doing a cone, right?
I'm doing a cone.
Okay, okay. And once, just so that you know what the next step is, because it's not a big deal. All right. Once you have done that, and this goes for any of the hats you are making, you will turn it into its circle and run a seam only on the one level. Okay. Then after you've done that, you will tuck that seam in and take the two other sides and fold the seam allowance in. I'm pinning it so it'll look like what it's supposed to look like. And encase the other seam, so that you're going to slip stitch the second seam allowance to cover the first seam allowance. Make sense?
Yep.
Yes? Okay. Once you're at this step, you are so close to the end.
Bambi, we have about 22 minutes before the hour.
Okay. Is everybody at least ready to turn their stuff? I'm hoping the silence is a yes. Okay. Now your next assignment, should you accept it, Sewing Spy, is ooh. Okay. We need that a little bit smaller.
Not very good at hand sewing.
No, it's not that. It's just you gave yourself more of a seam allowance. So we need to decide how much of that we're actually going to use. And that's a good thing because it's always easier to take out than it is to put back when you've cut it off. Okay.
Let's make sure this is gonna fit before we do anything.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
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 I was worried for nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Tell you what.
So we sew that?
Yeah. But you can get away with, see, getting this into the sewing machine is probably going to be a pain in the butt. But if you want to try, you can, you need to sew just a seam a little bit further in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like at the end of those stitches.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where you need to sew that.
Okay.
Okay. We now have the body of the hat, which is totally enclosed. Pressing that will help a lot. And whoops, turn it inside out. And it's the body again. The last step is now in our reach. You're going to take the circle and stick it into the hole. And this is where it getting round happens. It is sewn in, but in order for it to fit the hole, you may need to tuck some of it in and pin the one side to the one side on the edge. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you're going to slip stitch the same color to the same color, tucking the other color underneath, because you'll be slipping that, slip stitching that on the other side. Again, knotting the thread is helpful. Everybody okay? Okay. Oopsie, okay.
Yeah.
May I trouble you to show your sewing again?
Sure.
Just so I, thank you. It's
I am
not quite
literally-
in the camera, just a little bit
Oh.
higher.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you so much.
I got crazy with cutting out the flower on this thing, so it's a little bit too big for the hole, but I'm tucking the circle in on itself so it will fit in the hole, sort of.
Thank you.
Whoops, that was me. I'm sorry. You okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. I'm going to go back and even it out a little bit later, but I want to get to the point where I do the stitching on the other side as well. but I could take 1 or 2 stitches later to even it out. So now on this side, you've got all that showing, but it's easy enough to tuck it in. And pin it down. Okay. Remember to leave a hole. About 3 fingers wide. And take as little seam allowance as possible on yours. Okay. So now that the other side is pinned in place, it's time to slip stitch the other side. Y'all okay?
No, it's cooler out there than in here.
Oh, really? We've got all these lights going.
That's about 3 fingers. Now I turn it inside out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Imagine that's what hernia surgery is like.
Okay. So this is what happens when you tuck that in, you do get the rounded tip. Okay. I have to go back and I'm missing like about 3 stitches on this one. But now this is what happens when you fit it to wear it one way and then you wear it another way. Is I fitted it to go here, but I'm putting it back here because of the heads. And so it's a little big that way.
Bambi, could you angle your camera? We want to see your glorious hat in action.
Okay. So right now it's on the back and it's gaping a little because I actually fitted it this way. So in order to get it to fit, you have to fit it the way you're going to wear it. And so playing with the microphone, when I first tried it on, I tried it on the back of my head and that's much smaller than the top of my head. And it is totally reversible. I will probably be adding a tiny running stitch around the bottom if it doesn't sit flat after I press it. Tiny running stitch to keep it from showing the other color. Let me see. Nope, it won't fit my. if you still feel that you're feeling insecure about how it's going to stay on, there's several ways to work that out. Number one is to attach ribbon to the side that closely matches your head, your hair, and then tie it onto the back underneath. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is hat pins or period, go for it. You can go in and take it down some if it's too big. If it's too small, I don't know what, except wear it on a smaller part of your head, which I have done. I realize that it's counterintuitive, the sort of modular hatch construction where you make piece A and piece B and then you tack them together, but that does give you a lot more flexibility. Can I give anyone some help?
We're just coming, we've just crossed over 9 o'clock. So I want to make sure that everybody has a chance to ask any questions. And if everybody has another 5 minutes, I know that probably in another 2 minutes, I could finish my hat and put it on. Oh,
Yes, that would be
Ellen
wonderful.
putting on her hat. I love it.
Oh, yes. Oh, I love the fabric too. Ooh, very nice.
It's just pinned the top, I
Yes.
haven't finished sewing it,
But
but it,
you get the thing about slip stitching the one color and then flipping it over and slip stitching the other color so they disappear.
and the inside is going to be, I think I'm going to have to finesse it a little. It's
Yeah.
the top was a little bigger.
Yes, that happens. Sometimes you've got two fabrics and one of them releases a little when you cut it out. And the way you can finesse that is to tuck up the one that's releasing and then slip stitch right at the edge.
That's what I thought I would do.
Yes,
Thank you.
exactly. Especially in your model where it is straight and you're not like having to gather any
Was
more
it
than that.
deep enough? I mean, was it too tall?
I don't think so, especially if you end up like pinning a plume on it or a piece of jewelry, or you need, yeah, that would be fabulous. That's lovely fabric.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great job, Ellen.
Oh, thank you. I lost my needle.
I've done that 3 times tonight. Ooh, isn't that adorable?
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Wow.
It's not sewn yet, but in this
Yes,
color
yes.
on the inside.
What's the other side? The other side is gray. Oh,
It's got like a pattern to it, but like a subtle pattern. So
oh, lovely.
but it's rolling in, so I think I have to sew the bottom, but
Yeah,
it doesn't want to stay.
honestly, I have on many of them, because one fabric was a little bit stronger than the other, I've ended up doing a little tiny running seam at the bottom to keep it, and that's after trying to steam it. Yes, Janet.
Well, mine is actually too big. So it will be very pretty when I get it finished. So I will go back and kind of make it smaller, but it will be this.
Oh, yes. Lovely. Lovely. And actually, if you put your hair up, it may not be so big. Try putting, are you going to
I-
wear it with your hair up or down?
Usually down, but I mean,
Okay.
I've got way too much, so I'll adjust, I'll remake it basically.
But that, lovely. And oh my goodness. Yes.
I just happen to have some very Persian looking leftover material from drapes.
Go for it. Lucky you. Tanya, what have you got there? Or are you Tatiana? I'm
I'm
sorry.
Tatiana in the SCA, and I apologize. I didn't actually do the sew along. I was late coming in, so
Oh,
I've been watching
no
you.
problem. You can replay.
Yeah. Oh, and that's what I was saying. Are you going to post the video to the Facebook page or?
At some point, we're still trying to figure out exactly how that's going to happen, but Kaylan and I are trying to figure that out. Kaylan more than I, because I am your friendly neighborhood Luddite, but somehow it will be replayable in the near future. Yes.
Yeah, and feel free to nudge me, reach out, either on the event page or on the messenger group, and we'll make sure that everybody has that.
How do you get to the messenger group? Maybe I'm a Luddite too.
No, right now it's on the event page, isn't it? You get to it from the event page,
Yes,
Kayla?
that's correct.
Yes.
Okay, I'll have to try to figure that. Oh, look at that one.
Oh,
Very nice.
complete with jewelry. Well, you're certainly outclassing me, girl. Lovely. That is just lovely. Very nice. I am so excited about all these. Oh my goodness. At some point, can we meet again and have like a group shot with all our hats? Because this is really spectacular, guys. You have totally
Take a night. I mean, we can even do that now.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do a screen capture if everybody wants to put their hat on, if that's okay with everyone.
well, turn your camera on, right?
Everybody's so adorable. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me try this.
I'm so proud of you all. Oh my gosh.
1, 2, 3.
Get it to
Hat.
go back so that you can
Let me
actually
see if I got it. I beg your pardon. Let me try again.
Post it, Kayla.
Hang on, I'm trying to make sure that I got it. Oh, print screen. So you're just gonna have to pose and admire yourselves for a moment. Okay, I have a method to make this
Can't even
happen.
wear a hat or hear you.
Okay, ready? This is it. I think I got it. Let's do one more. I've never done this before. There we go. All right, we're pretty adorable. I do have a shot of us, so we'll have that for posterity.
Thank you so much. I have another class I have to get to. Secret Life of a Teacher. But thank you so much. Oh,
Andy,
Thank you.
you're muted.
You're muted. Oh no.
She hears us.
Ta-da! All right. If you've got any questions, class, and come find me. I'm Bambi Rigsby Smith or Maria Beatriz la Mora. I will probably find it on Bambi easier, I'm still learning how to navigate Maria, but please come find me and I will be happy to answer them and help you any way I can. Thank you for
very
coming.
much.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.